driving cross countries, getting ball tires, fam across ponds, always inspired. Chapters connect, and then it's on fire. Checking phones, this BV is like a live wire. They said that we couldn't do it, yeah, and that's the power of brotherhood. Every bro, every chapter, every caption, part of a villain, bro. Lights, camera, action.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
From the start to the finish, go
wow. Hello. And welcome to another edition of The Heart of a Villain, the podcast. Live stream and video, everything, all of the stuff. Here talking about the Bearded Villains Worldwide Brotherhood. Guys, it is October 11th. Let's just jam out the jelly for a second. There it is. All right. Thanks again, Jelly, for that. I can't wait for the updated version to be coming out here soon of The Heart of a Villain, the song. Hey, guys, this is episode 230. And again, this is October 11th already, 2024. What that means is we are only 8 days away from the return of Ezra Crow. Yes, that's right. Here in Northern Indiana, we celebrate Ezra Crow every day, but we welcome everyone else to join with us once a year for the Return of Ezra Crow. Once again happening here in Northern Indiana, this time in Portage, Indiana, not far from where it was the last several years. But hey, tonight we are going to talk with, well, me, of course, but we're also going to bring in the co-captain of Bearded Village, Northern Indiana, Ed Sanner, who also happens to be a board member. And we're going to be firing away some fastballs and some, hopefully not too many softballs at him. Everybody's preparing their questions as we speak. Hopefully, if you have a question for a board member. So we've got kind of a fun-filled show here if all of you participate with us. But if everybody just kind of sits on their fingers and toes and everything else and doesn't participate, well, then, you just have to listen to BP talk for a while. Once again, like you do all the time, and that's going to get very boring very quickly. But hey, this is going to be fun. We're going to be talking a little bit about some of the stuff to expect. If you're still on the fence and you're not so sure if you can make it, hopefully we can entice you to make the trip up here to Northern Indiana to get your costumes on, check out your worst beard or your worst tattoos, your best tattoos, and do everything we can to make that work. It's going to be awesome. So in just a couple minutes, I'm going to bring Ed in, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, and then we'll let you fire away at your questions with him. So I look forward to that being a lot of fun. Hey, I want to say hello to the chat is a hopping tonight, boys and girls. The chat is hopping. So let me jump into the chat here and say hello to some people who are hanging out with us tonight. And of course, we have Mr. Rubba on the road. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Mostly good morning for you, good sir. Good to see you. He says, ask Ed. Oh, boy, this is going to be worth every second of my day. Yes, we know you're going to love this, Rob. Good to see you, Rob. Who else we got? We got Shifty hanging out in the house here as well. What is up? He says, yeah, I'm good, brother. How are you? Good to see you, Shifty. Jake is hanging out with us as well. Good evening, brothers. Good to see you. We got Dapper Dan in the house saying, hey, what's up to Shifty? I love it when the conversation goes back and forth between the guys, and they just carry on these conversations in the chat. It's a good flow. Gary's hanging out with us as well. Good evening, brothers. Good to see you. Who else we got here? And I know we got several people. Mr. Antonio is here hanging out with us as well. Evening, gents, he says. We also have Mr. Dave Ramsey. Evening, brothers. Everybody's got their own little thing they're saying here. Jason's hanging out with us as well. Good to see you here, Jason. Man, we got a crowd. I know there's a bunch of people in there that aren't in the comments section as well, just hanging out with us back in the background, and that's totally fine. We will let that happen. Mr. Veteran to Valhalla. Good to see you. I know you don't get a chance to join in with us too often, but definitely good to see you here tonight. All right. And then, of course, we have Ed hanging out in the background with us as well. He's responding to some of these comments here as well. But guys, tonight, like I said, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Return of Ezra Crow, and we're going to be firing some questions at Ed. Hopefully not getting too personal with him. But hey, he's opened the door, right? He's opening himself up. So we're going to be firing some questions at Ed. If you have any questions about what it's like to be a board member, how frustrating it can be, how happy it can be, you know, I just love the fact that it's I every day I say better you than me. So that's a good thing. I love to rub in his face all the time. So keep those questions ready to go at the ready, and we'll fire them his way and see what he has to say when it comes to time. Before we get too far into the show, I want to make sure that I give a little shout out merch-wise to a few different chapters that still have something cooking right now. And we really don't, we're kind of in a lull right now. We don't have too much going on. But for those that do, I do want to give a shout out to and make sure that we give whatever we can when we can. I'm going to start off here in Northern Indiana. I love this shirt. We're paying homage to an awesome rock album from back in the day with our 2024 Ezra Crow World Tour t-shirt. If you know, you know. If you know the album, you know the album. It's available in 2 different t-shirt styles. It's also available in a sleeveless t-shirt and a hoodie. These things, once they're gone, they are gone. This is not a pre-order. These are made to order once you order. You will get it in about a week to your hot little hands, and then you can wear it. These things don't every year when this shirt goes on sale. It goes on sale for several weeks, but then once it's gone, boys and girls, it's gone. We don't reprint. We don't remake. So get your hands on the 2024 Ezra Crow World Tour t-shirt here from Northern Indiana. Also want to give a shout out once again to these awesome patches. This is a patch set from Bearded Villains, South Mississippi. I cannot, if you're not watching on video, or if you're watching on a cruddy monitor and you can't see the quality of these, I can't speak highly enough to what these things look like. These patches, the best I can do, and when I describe it, the best I can do is to say it looks like they're carved out of wood and then painted. They're that solidly detailed. It's very cool. But it's a patch set, and all the proceeds are going to go to charity. I want to say well, I'm not even going to quote the price, but get out there to Bearded Villains, South Mississippi, and help them raise some money for the Christmas season with these very awesome patches, this patch set here. Definitely go grab one of those. Also, I double-checked before we started the show tonight. Bearded Villains, Central England still has some Remembrance Day pin, lest we forget. Very bright, bold pin. They have a handful of these still available. Just literally like a handful of these still available. Go out and grab one of these really cool looking pins. All the proceeds from this pin also go to charity. I can't remember which cause this is going to, but I know that the proceeds are all going to help out veterans services. So definitely go out and grab one of those. And then also I did check before we started up today, this shirt, this collaboration between the Saints and I think it's SMV. I think it's Smoky Mountain, yes. They are doing a collab with this shirt. It's called Brothers Lending a Hand Tee and Patch Combo. It's a patch and tee combo. You don't see too many of those very often. For $40, that's a pretty good deal for a tee and patch, and knowing that the proceeds are going to help flood victims. If you know what, like I said before, this could be a really cool time where, and this is something I actually got some really good feedback when I mentioned this I think last week for the first time. Really cool idea, something that you can think about here. So many of us, if you've been around any amount of time at all, you've collected so many patches from Bearded Villains from different chapters all over the place. And, you get these, you get patches and they just sit in a box, right, over the years. But what a lot of us do is we end up donating them back to some sort of cause or some sort of auction or something like that. Well, same thing happens with shirts, right? Everybody seems like they're selling shirts, and if you bought everybody's shirt, you'd end up with 20 new shirts every year. But what a cool thing this could be, right? Think about this. If once a year you found, or maybe twice a year, you found a shirt or a patch, or in this case, a shirt and patch combo, that somebody was selling to raise money for a charity effort. And what if, so say, maybe you're a 3X, maybe you're a 4X, maybe you're small. And maybe in your head you say, I already have too many shirts. I already have too many patches. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy an XL or maybe a 2X, a size that is probably one of the more common sizes out there in the BV world. And I'm going to buy this patch set, this patch and shirt set for $40. I'm going to be able to help them out. I'm going to save them some. I'm going to be able to make some money for them for their charity effort. And then somewhere down the road, I'm going to donate back this T-shirt and this patch as a set to somebody else's auction. And so for that $40, you've just helped out 2 different charity efforts. I love this idea. It's something that I'm going to take hold of, and I'm going to be doing it myself at least once a year to help out, because I think it's a great way to help out multiple charities and multiple chapters in what they do. I think it's a really cool idea. I've never heard of anybody else like promoting this, but I guarantee you I'm not the first to think of it. So it's just kind of a pay it forward idea, right? So if this isn't a shirt that you want, if you have too many black shirts, and I know so many of us do, but it's a really cool shirt, I'm telling you, what a cool blending of Smoky Mountain and the Saints logos. Too often when people when chapters put 2 of their logos together, they don't go together. They don't blend. But they've done a really cool job of making this thing work. But you get a patch and you get a shirt. So whether it's this set or another set down the road, find a way to do that and make, pay it forward, boys and girls. But this won't be out there for very long because this is a pre-order. So there's a chance this may not be around next week. I do know that as of today, it's still live. So get out there and grab one of these. And that is what I've got for merch right now. Hopefully I'm not missing anybody. I don't know if there is anybody out there that's selling a merch that I don't know of, then you need to do your own due diligence and send me that information so that I can get it on the show. Right? Right. Okay. Well, what are we going to do tonight? I can't remember. Are we going to do something else tonight? Oh, yeah. I think we had a guest that was kind of waiting in the wings. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, let's do that. Let's maybe bring in our guest for tonight. He is co-captain from Bearded Films, Northern Indiana, and he is also a board member. So we're not gonna fire away questions at him quite yet. We're gonna start off a little slow. We'll go ahead and talk about the Return of Ezra Crow first, our event, but then we're gonna fire away at questions. So hey, everybody, help me welcome to the show, Mr. Ed Sanner. How you doing, Ed? Okay, did I still have him muted? Let me see if I still had him muted. Try this now.
Yep, you still had me muted.
There we go. I apologize. I clicked on mute once. I think I double clicked it. How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Fantastic. Fan-freaking-tastic. We are 8 days away, and this is the time where we always tell ourselves that,
that we're never going to do it again. That's what we usually tell ourselves.
Yeah. And we also say, you've done what you can do when you get to about 2 days out, 3 days out, and just enjoy it. But yeah, there's a lot of balls up in the air still that hopefully we can do this or that or this or that, and I'm looking forward to
what you do with your balls is your business. So
hey, cheers, by the way. I don't know if anybody else is drinking tonight. I've got some Lagavulin tonight, so cheers. So, Ed, let's talk for a minute here.
We should probably warn people that don't know me, if you have children listening right now, don't. They will learn some colorful new words, and it's probably a bad idea.
I did forget to put the parental advisory on this episode, so
yeah,
I probably should go back and do that after. Dapper Dan, I did see a comment in the comment section. You had mentioned the Northern Monkeys new patch. I did see that. However, if you're talking about their Halloween patch, their very limited Halloween patch, I was gonna put it out, and then I noticed it sold out. Like in the last day or two, I think. I'm not sure how long ago it was, but it is sold out. They only had 50 of them. When they do that, they only sell like 50 at a time, but they sell out quick. But it was a very cool patch. But if that's one you're talking about, it is sold out. So that's why I didn't have it on here. All right. Hey, Antonio, are you seeing the comments, Ed, too?
No, I got off YouTube because
Okay.
I didn't want to get distracted.
I get you. If you can see the broadcast, of course, Antonio says there's the face of a man who works in IT.
Yeah, it was a day to day, let me tell you.
Oh, I love that. That's a great one. Well, sorry, Dapper Dan. I didn't mean to single you out. It's just because you made the comment. I just had to, make sure you knew. All right.
It's
so
okay to tell Dan he's wrong. I do it all the time, so don't feel bad.
There we go. Yeah, but I'm the kinder, gentler version of you. So
Well, that's true.
we're opposite sides of the coin. I'm the kinder, gentler version. So, hey, let's talk for a second about this event coming up this weekend. What can you talk? Everybody's heard me talk about stuff before, but as co-captain of the chapter, can you talk for a second about what are your favorite parts about this event and how it's so different from other events?
Honestly, my favorite part of this event is how open everybody is. You go to a lot of events and you find chapters that stick with chapters. You find, that you look at a table, oh, that's those guys, and oh, that's the other guys. You're going to see a lot of blended, mixed in groups. The costumes put a whole new level on things because, instead of a bunch of guys dressed as, their patch shirts or their cuts or whatever they're wearing, you got guys, I can remember the first year Beetlejuice came walking in, followed by Forrest Gump, which I just thought was outstanding. And with that, you have a whole different atmosphere. We try to put on a party. We try to, we tell the guys we're not planning a beard comp, we're planning an event. And we really want to try to make sure that that's what it feels like when you get there. If you don't have a good time, then, we tried and you suck. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, we tried and you suck. If you don't have a good time, then it's on you. It's not because of anything else and I love the fact that one of the great things that I've noticed over the years is there doesn't seem to be a lot of people just staring at the walls, and people as you said, people are milling about. People are conversing with each other. They're going from one table to another if they're even seated, but they're moving about all over the place, saying hi to people all day long, and I think that's one of the really cool things about our event as opposed to some of the other events that we've seen over the years. And not to single any event out, because I think we've all been, if you've been around any kind of BV event for any amount of years, we've all been to that one or two events where it just seems like there's a lull that lasts way longer than it needed to. And everybody's just kind of seated at a table looking around, and it's like it's a pancake breakfast or something.
You get to a point at some events where you kind of look around the crowd and people just look kind of bored. And I'm not trying to disparage any other events, but me personally, I detest beard comps. I absolutely hate them. I don't want to watch a bunch of ugly guys walk across the stage. I really don't care about the funny joke that I've heard from you for the last 17 beard comps I've seen you in. I'm so sick of losing to Beaudry that it's just ridiculous. And, it's like, okay, I'm over it. And like I said, well, if you can't find something to do at Ezra that's not just stare at the guys on stage, then come find me and I will find something for you to do. And it won't be pleasant. There's 100 things to go do. There's games to play. We've got the tattoo contest. You've got costumes to get ready for. There's just a million different things. This year, we have a new event location. We're going to have a cigar distributor on hand we've got a patio outside. So if smoking cigars is your thing, you've got a covered patio. Go enjoy a cigar. Get a drink, get a non-alcoholic beverage, play some games, hang out with your boys. Do whatever it is you want to do. We want you to come and have an experience, not come and participate in a competition.
Yeah. I think over the years, and Ed and I have been to, I mean, since the years that we started, and I didn't start too much before Ed, but it seems like for the last, as long as we can remember, we've been to so many events together, and we've had those long conversations after the fact, talking about what did we enjoy, and we started doing this long before we even started this chapter up here in northern Indiana. We would have those conversations either on the car ride back or after the fact, and we talk about. I loved what they did here. I this part was really kind of a slow burn, and it didn't. It felt like everybody was starting to kind of lose interest, and one of the things that we've said over the years, and Ed has not been silent at all about the fact that, you know, if you've been to one beard comp, it's like you've been to so many of the others, and it gets the same, and that's when you see people's faces just kind of. And one of the things that I loved about my trip, and everybody on this show's heard me talk about it before, my trip to England was that, and seeing videos of how the guys over in England run these beard comps, is that it's just second fiddle to everything else. It's one little tiny piece of their event. Their whole event isn't surrounded by it. And if you weren't paying attention, you may not even know that there was a beard comp in some cases at these places. And I loved that fact of it because there was so much more camaraderie, building of the brotherhood of it, and just sitting around talking, telling stories. And that's the one thing that I've really loved about what Ezra has developed into, is that there's so much talking and so much just storytelling and enjoying each other's company that, you know, sometimes you turn your head and somebody says, "Oh, what's going on over there?" Suddenly you realize that there might be something happening because you're so involved in each other's conversations. That's what it's about.
Oh. And there's so many new people to meet. I mean, every year we get new attendees. If you've met everyone, let's say you're BP and you travel, you know, literally coast to coast, nation to nation, you know everybody. Well, we have 4 or 5 new supporters and hopefuls right now that you've never met unless you're BVC, because, you know, we all go to the BVC stuff because they're 30 minutes away from us. So yeah, there's going to be somebody new for you to meet. There's going to be something new for you to do. And BP, are you ready to talk about how we are going to change beard comps?
I don't know if we should tell people.
I think we should tell people. I think we should tell them that there've never been. I'm not going to tell them everything, but I am going to say you've never been to a beard comp like this before.
That's true.
This is going to be something entirely new for those chapters that are coming. And I believe right now we have 12 chapters that are set to attend. If your chapter's not coming, again, you suck. But so I have no doubt that other people are going to grab this idea and run with it, because it's really going to change how things work. And either that or we're going to shit the bed. I mean, let's call it what it is. It's going to be the most awful experience of your life or the greatest time you ever had on a Saturday in October. One of the two, it's going to be one of those. And I'm looking forward to it. I've never seen it done. BP, I don't know if you've ever seen it done. This was, we think, a fresh idea. And it should make things very interesting. Very interesting. So, you know, just for that reason alone is a reason to come. Just because you can take this back home and steal it. We didn't copyright it. I have no doubt if it's successful, other people are going to copy it, and I encourage them to do so. Because once again, I fucking hate beard competitions. So this is going to be something different people have never seen.
Yeah, it's literally turning a beard comp on its head and doing something different. And I love the fact that it does that, and like I said, all of the bad parts of a beard comp, the boring parts, the stuff that people loathe, it completely removes that. And so I think hopefully it's something that and the cool thing is that by as far as we know, by us being the first ones to do this, we get the surprise factor, because once you do it, then it's the surprise part of it then becomes known. It's still going to be cool. It's still going to be cool every year, but to be able to do it and have the surprise factor for people that are just showing up to find out what it is, that's going to be a really cool thing. So, yeah, that we can leave it at that. I'm okay with giving that much detail about it because it's going to be a totally different take, and I think it'll be one of those things where guys will be going back to their chapters and going, dude, we need to do that. This was so cool. This was awesome. There wasn't, nobody was bored.
Or
it was
it's
awesome.
going to be awful.
Or but it'll be comically awful. And
yes.
That's the thing. It won't be a shit to bed thing where it's like just terribly dreaded. It'll be comically shit to bed. So it'll be like, can you believe what they tried to do? It'll be one of those. And we'll own it. We'll totally own it. We'll raise our hands and go, yep, we tried that once.
It's not going to be the first mistake I've ever made. I promise you that. It won't be the last. So I'm good with it.
No, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we've got it. So if you've never been to Ezra, the really cool thing is that, as Ed said earlier, this is an event. We don't treat it like just a beard comp. There's a performance aspect to the night where it's where it completely transforms the way that these events are done from top to bottom. And when you're there, you're engaged in everything that you can possibly imagine. The games, the raffles. We did some games last year. If you were there last year for some of the games that we did, we've reinvented that idea. We've changed that. And the games that we have this year, I'm telling you what, you are absolutely going to love. These are not
to give too much away. Last year's theme for the games was like a carnival, like a sideshow carnival. This year, it's more The Price is Right. So you're going to see a whole different atmosphere. Again, it's a whole new venue. For those that have, been to every Ezra beforehand, this is going to be something new that you're going to get to see. So we put a lot of time and effort into this. Tim, who's our lieutenant, has just killed it on a lot of the things he's crafted for this. And, I can't respect him enough for the amount of effort he's put into this event. It's astounding. And everybody coming gets to benefit from it. So it's been a lot of hard work. Everybody from our hopefuls on up to the captains have been just killing themselves for months now, trying to get everything done that we make it as great a night as we can possibly make it. And again, we're raising money for Ronald McDonald House Charity, which a lot of people in this club have been touched by. I'm personally, that was something when my goddaughter was born. Ronald McDonald House put a lot of the family up because we had to go back and forth to Indianapolis, and obviously that's very costly, getting a hotel room, staying down there. So yeah, this is a charity that's near and dear to a lot of people, and something I hope we continue to work with for many years to come.
Yeah. I'm gonna expand on a couple things you said there, because the event space is completely different, as he said, and it will feel much more, I want to say, I don't know if I don't want to. Well, I'm trying to think of the better word. This place feels like it kind of hugs you a little bit. Maybe if that's a way to describe it. But you have so many different options to do different things at this place, and that's what's going to be a really cool difference for a lot of people.
To me, it feels like a pub setting, whereas the event venue we've been at for years in the past has felt like a field house. So when you've got more space, more spread out, more, this is going to bring people closer together, literally. And we're not going to fill it to capacity or anything like that. And if we do, awesome. But I really doubt that's going to happen. But we have a whole back venue area. We have a restaurant area in the front. We have the patio outside. We've got full run of the facilities, and this is going to be a really good year to attend Ezra if you're available.
Absolutely. And, as Ed said, the games this year, I think are absolutely unique and different. Again, our guys stepped up in a major way. Big shout out, of course, to Tim. This guy there were days where he would just suddenly send us a message and say, hey, I did this. What do you think? And we're like, wow, okay, yes, that's incredible. And
You know,
between
and
he
I
and
do want
Robert,
to give Robert. I
yeah,
wanted to make sure we mentioned Robert and
yeah,
Little John as well. They've
yep,
got a lot of time into these,
yeah,
as well as other guys throughout the chapter. They were just the driving force behind one of the larger, more impressive games. Um, yeah, this is going to be something special. I'm really looking forward to this.
yeah, yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and the work that to actually, I mean, to see something, to see a game somewhere, and to actually say, I want to try to replicate that, but to actually have the guys that can do it and do it in a way that it looks incredible. Um, we've had the amount of work that Robert and Tim have done for this for the games, and then the behind the scenes work that the rest of our guys have done, and that John has done, and I mean we just got such a great crew of guys. We've got a big shout out to the whole chapter because we have so many guys that are just they're ready to raise their hand and say what else needs to be done. And I hear, and it makes me sad because I know we're fortunate, and Ed knows that we are so fortunate, and we praise our guys that are in this chapter with us as often as we possibly can because the attitudes that they have, the caring hearts that they have for charity and for their fellow brothers, it's immeasurable. And for an event like this where it's all hands on deck, and our guys are saying, what do we need to do next? What is there something else I can do? I can't do that, but is there something I can do like this? It's great, and our guys aren't silent. They're not just sitting off in a corner imagining that somebody else is going to do the work for them. They're jumping in ready to go. So huge shout out to all of our guys here in Northern Indiana for all their hard work, for sure. Yeah, I was almost tempted to give away the big game, but I don't think I want to.
No, I think that's going to be one where people or that's going to be a WTF moment when they walk through the door.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to playing it personally. So this is this is going to be a fun game. And then there's a couple of games that are going to be available. Again, we went from that carnival atmosphere to more of like a game show atmosphere. Not only are you going to want to watch the games and play the games, but you really want to watch someone else play, which is going to help you develop your strategy. It's, you think, and
You
it's,
think. You only
yeah, you
think.
think. Um, but yeah, this is something, like I said, that I've never seen at a beard event before ever.
No.
Um, this is going to be very different. We're going to have, the normal raffles everybody has. We've got a few items that are going to be live auctioned that are spectacular. And then we've got I guess I'll tip my hat to the game we're talking about. That's how you win the big stuff. Um, and by the big stuff, we mean things that are worth a lot of money. So we've got some very cool things that some very generous people have donated to us. And you'll have the opportunity to win those. Last year, I'm not going to tell everybody what the prizes are because I want them to kind of be surprised when they get there at the coolness of them. Last year, we had a Michael Kors purse, which one of the ladies that won that was over the moon about it. We had a big screen TV and a bunch of other stuff. So we had studio headphones. Um, there's some things, like I said, that are on par with that this year, and or maybe a little better in some cases. And I'm really really looking forward to this. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, okay, Saturday can't get here fast enough. Let's just get it going. So I'm ready. I'm sure you're ready. Our guys, they're more than ready because they've been working on this for 10 months now.
Yeah. Yeah. I got one big item that I'm okay sharing.
Well, you're the captain, so sure away.
That I wouldn't mind sharing, but we'll do that in a minute. But and then a couple of the small things. But one of the things that I will say is the the stuff that our guys have accumulated through the sponsors for just the raffle alone. A lot of times the raffle might. I will say another first for us this year. Yes, there's beard care products in the raffle, but I will say this: compared to years past, we have about, I would say, well over well over 75% less beard care products in our raffle than we have had in years past.
Yeah.
We made the mistake, I think, a couple years ago where it was like 80% beard care products and stuff. And we had some generous sponsors that did that helped us out with that. But as time's gone on, you realize that, okay, not everybody, well, most of us already have beard care stuff, right? And so maybe you want to get that. But to go out and find very odd, very unique things that, I never thought about. That'd be really cool to have, those kind of things are really neat. And there's some pretty high-end stuff that are going to be available on just the raffle tables alone.
Yeah.
And you are definitely going to want to grab one of those raffle sheets. If you didn't know, we have if you're coming to the event, I'll just say this right now, the fees, okay? So you show up, everybody gets in the door for $15, all right? So $15, which is $5 less than some places charge. So we're only $15 to getting in the door. And that gets you the availability to participate if you want to in the beard competition, if you want to in the costume contest. It also gives you the ability to sign up for the tattoo contest. The tattoo contest is a best men's, best women's, and worst tattoo contest.
I can't wait to give out the worst tattoo again. I'm so looking forward to that.
And the coolest thing is that it's only $5 per tattoo to enter. If you want to enter 3 tattoos, it's only going to cost you $15. You can enter a best and you can enter 2 worst. It's up to you, however you want to do it. But it's only $5 per tattoo. And we had so much fun that when we started that last year, the tattoos that showed up were absolutely amazing. I had more fun with the bad tattoos than, some of the good tattoos were really good and they were neat. But to hear the stories that came along with the people's bad tattoos, and then when you have somebody that comes up in front of you and says, I have so many bad tattoos, I don't know which one to go with, but I'm going to go with this one. And the stories that they tell you about these things, why they did it, the circumstances that it's amazing and it's so much fun. And we, of course, we try to bring it up on the big screen so that everybody can see how bad this tattoo might be or how good it is if it's a good one. So we're sharing. So even from across the room, you'll be able to see this tattoo that the people are talking about. But yes, such an amazing time. So we have the tattoo contest. We have the costume contest. And all of that is afforded to you. You only have to pay extra for the $5 for the tattoo contest if you want to participate in that. The game tickets, the tickets for your raffles are $20 a sheet, and for that you get 25 actual tickets. And I love the way that we've started doing this. We've taken the heat off of some other places that have decided to get the full sheet. So you only have, this is the best part, I think, you get one number. If you buy a sheet, you can put 25 tickets in stuff, and you only have to remember one number. I love that. That's so much simpler.
Yes.
So we'll
especially
have that.
When you've had a few by the end of the night and you're trying to figure out the math on your numbers.
Right. Yeah. So if you would have, say you spent $60 on raffle tickets, okay, you just you have 60 individual numbered raffle tickets that you have to try and go through, right? Not here. If you buy 60, you would end up buying 75 and paying $60 worth, and you only have to remember 3 numbers if you buy 3 sheets. So it's such a great idea. I love it. So yeah, but all sorts of fun. The games that are going to be there for you to play, you're not going to want to stop playing them, I don't think, because the opportunities that are there for those is going to be great. We will have some pizza available, is the plan.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're hungry, if you want to eat beforehand, that's all fine and well too, but we will have some pizza available to you.
Yeah, JJ's Pizza Shack is donating again this year. They provided the food last year, and it's top-notch stuff. I eat it every other week. So, that's one of my Chicago pizzas that it's a go-to for me.
How do you eat that pizza every other week and look like you do, and I don't, and I look like I do?
Maybe you need to eat more pizza. I don't know. Just
all right.
Try it. What could happen?
Yeah. It's a little bit of a drive for me. Gary says he is down for the tattoo contest. All right. Love it.
For best or worst, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, good question. You have all sorts of possibilities there. If you're one of those people that has dozens and dozens of tattoos, just think for a second. You could share the story of 4 or 5 bad tattoos for $20. That's pretty good.
I can tell you last year the judges were pretty swayed by some of the stories that went along with the bad tattoos. Yeah, it makes it very interesting to get like, how the hell did you happen to do that to yourself? Um, the guy that won last year, I swear it looked like he ordered a tattoo machine off of Amazon and let a 3-year-old who didn't know how to spell or write start writing words on his chest in ink. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. He asked, well, what do you think? How would we cover this? And my response was, how do you feel about bowling balls? Because I don't even know. Jake from J Dragon donated a cover up last year for that. And yeah, I did not envy Jake's getting that guy in his chair.
Yeah. Shifty says he has one for a worst. All right. I can't wait to see him. I can't wait. It's going to be a good time. I will say this. Please remember, though, that it is family friendly. The event is family friendly. There will be kids there in costumes. But if you do have a bad tattoo in an area that's less than good for young viewers to see, then we will just not broadcast that up on the big screen. We would still afford you the opportunity to share that with the judges if for some reason you have a bad tattoo in an obscene area. I would hate to take away the opportunity for you to do that.
Or if you just want to show off your penis tattoo, just let us know.
Not for kids. Not for kids. We'll have to get the earmuffs going for them and the goggles and whatever we have to do. But we'll put the camera away so it's not up on the big screen for that. And also, it's not recorded, so it's just a live broadcast from the camera to the big screen, so it's not going to be recorded, so don't worry about that. For those of you who might be worried about that. But yeah, so this night is going to be awesome. Really looking forward to it. And from the word jump, from the start of the night to the end of the night, it's going to be something that's memorable, I think. I encourage everybody that's coming to come in some sort of a costume, even if you just throw a mask on. Who cares? It is the coolest thing. Anytime you get a bunch of adults acting like children, once again, and dressing up, and I will say this, in years past, we have had some amazing costumes. We have had some people go really crazy with some of these costumes, and it's so cool to see. I mean, on the other hand, I'm one of those, I'll just throw something on real quick, a big tarp, and throw a hat on or throw a mask on or something or a wig on, and that's my costume. But the amount of effort, and some of the women that come to this, the effort that they put in, that's the really, I mean, yeah, wow. So I'm not, yeah, I'm telling you,
Odin from BBC sticks out in my mind from last year. It was like he was literally worried he wasn't going to be able to get through the door. He was 9 feet tall, I think, and he had a wingspan of like 12 feet or something. Yeah. It was ridiculous how big he was coming in.
Right. Thankfully, his wings collapsed.
Such good times.
Yeah, thankfully his wings collapsed inward so he could get through the door. But yeah, he had to make sure, he had to look left and he had to look right before he expanded his wings to make sure he wasn't going to take anybody out. So very, very cool. All right. I'm trying to think, can you think of anything else that we're missing?
Well, we do have on Friday, we have the pre-party. Everybody's welcome to come out to Shenanigans. That's where we're having it in Portage, Indiana. It's literally about 1 minute off the highway, so it's super fast to get to. And Friday night, we'll be at Shenanigans having a good time beforehand. Then we have the event Saturday, and we have an after party planned for Saturday night. So, and conveniently, the after party is located in the same parking lot as the event hotel. So you don't have to worry about drinking and driving or anything like that. If you're going to be drinking, then get a room. Says we don't want to be bailing anyone out of jail. We will laugh at you a lot for making stupid choices.
Yeah, we are trying to take a page out of the boys up in Canada, and weather permitting, the best. If you've heard me talk about Beards for Bucko and that weekend, anytime in the last 2 years, 3 years, if you heard Ed talking about it, I mean, we just rave about the just the best part about that weekend seems to end up being every year the 2 nights of parking lot parties. And so we're trying to take a page out of them. We're nothing if we don't copy, right? we copy each other's ideas, and it's been awesome. And so we're going to try to do that, weather permitting, out in the parking lot. Heck, even if it's cold, just bring a blanket. We'll chill out. Bring your camp chairs, your whatever you're going to bring, your chairs to just hang out with us in the parking lot. So we're going to have a good time there.
Yeah. When you go to these big events, a lot of times the only time, because I'll be honest, you and I will be running around like crazy people all night long at the event. And the odds of us being able to stop and have a good conversation with someone are pretty small because we've got a lot of moving parts. We have to keep going. But the after party and the pre-party the night before, that's a good time for us to be able to, interact with people and really make those connections. To me, that's what events are about. It's not so much about why do you have a confused look on your face?
I didn't know I was going to have to work this event. I thought it was just going to be a party for me.
No. You're working.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. You get your drinking in now, buddy, because there won't be any on Saturday.
Oh, there will be, but I'll be important. I'll be smart about it.
We'll know because you'll be slurring up on the mic.
Yeah.
But the best thing about these events is the connections you make, the friends you make. And, I tell our guys all the time, I know BV started online. We are not an internet chapter. We are an in-person. We want to hang out with our bros. We want to do this in the real world, not on Instagram. Obviously, that's our roots. We still have a very, active presence on Instagram. But our whole way of doing things is being together. And, we welcome everybody else to come in and join that. That's something that's very near and dear to our hearts is, we've had lots of guys we've had to tell them, if you're here to be Instagram famous, this ain't the chapter for you. We want you here in person.
All right. Well said. Those of you who are in the chat right now, in live in the chat, go ahead and start submitting your questions for Ed. I'm saving them as they come in, so that I can make sure that we can get to them. So I'm favoriting them as they come in. So go ahead and think about your questions. If you want to add questions to the chat, we'll make sure that we get them in here, and we'll ask him these questions one by one. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and share a couple of. I just want to give a teaser for a couple of things. Because as we've said, we've got some really cool items that are going to be available for this at this event. And one of the things, I can't believe this. I may have forgotten to share this specific item. So while I'm talking for a second, let's see. No, I'll bring it up after we do questions with Ed. I'll bring it up as one last thing to share with. But we have a couple of items here that I would like to share, just to kind of show you the quality of some of the items that will be available for you at the raffle. And we have, again, one of our really great donors of this event has been Four Roses Bourbon, and they have donated so many cool items. I'm not going to give them all to you, right now, because I want you to be surprised. But this is just an example of one of the cool things that's going to be available to you in the quality. This is a insulated Pelican mug, cup, thermos. I don't know what do you even call that, but with Four Roses Bourbon engraved on it. Super high quality stuff. Very, very cool. That's just one item. We also have coming your way that will be available if you're interested that night. If you do collect, if you want a decanter with a couple of really cool glasses, just a very fancy decanter engraved with Four Roses on it. That's another cool, very cool idea. And then also just keeping the trend of this is one of the items that will be available to you if you're interested. And you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to fight people for this one. You're gonna have to fight people for this one because a lot of people, and this is going to be one of those. This is This is a prize that is only available if you play the games, and then you get the special raffle tickets for this item that you can take your special raffle tickets and put them in to be eligible to win this one right here. And obviously, the more you play, the more you win, the more tickets you get. And so you can improve your odds to get this bad boy. And if you know anything about these coolers, the quality of them and the expense of them, but also to have it have the Four Roses bourbon name on it is wow. It's a really cool thing. You do not these I've never seen one like this in this configuration with that has the Four Roses name on it. So very very cool collector's item for you. But this is just a sampling of a few of the very cool items that are going to be available for us for you to win. And then there's going to be some live auction items. It's just going to be fun. Just going to be
just to touch on that for the villains that are listening or their girls that might be listening. We also have 3 local artists who have donated gift certificates for tattoos. We also have a local artist who's a piercer. He's one of our guys in our chapter. He's donated a gift certificate for piercings. So, it goes with the theme of the event, and we appreciate them so much, for them reaching out to help Ronald McDonald House.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been pretty impressed with the wide variety. A lot of times you go to these events and you're looking around and you're not so sure that there's anything there for you. I've been to a few of those events where I'm like, I really want to participate, but if I win anything in this raffle, I'm not going to take it home. It's nothing I'm going to be able to do with. It's nothing I'm going to use. And the items that we have collected this year, I think there's so many that it's just so diverse. And I'm sorry, I'm looking for this picture that I thought I had submitted on.
Just recently we actually had a jewelry store who made a large donation to us, so you're going to have a gift certificate for that jewelry store. Again, we can't thank the community enough for the outpouring we've got for this event. This is going to be a great event. Really great stuff you'll have a chance to win. And, like I said, Saturday can't get here fast enough for me.
Right. Yeah. All right. I'm going to try something here. This is one other thing that we have. This will be available, I think. I think this is going to be a raffle item. And this is something I think I'm talking about the thing that has 4 pieces to it. What I'm talking about?
Yeah, that is very cool.
I was going to show a picture of that. You thinking that you feel that's okay? I'll share it on social media later in the week. But the people that are paying attention tonight,
I think it's okay. I think our chapter guys are going to start salivating when they see it.
Okay, well I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that one. So one of the things that we love to do, and I know other chapters love to do this as well. One of the things that I think is really fun is when you're able to create, when you're able to have something in an event, and the winner of that item or items in this case will be the first to own something like that. Now, not to say that this is going to be one of one, because it absolutely will not, because I probably will not win this at our event, and I'm sure as heck going to own some myself. But but the person that wins this will be the very first to own these items that we have here. And so I'm going to put them up on the screen right now, and you can see, bada boom. If you are a drinker of water or even alcoholic beverages and you want to collect rocks glasses, this is a set of 4 Northern Indiana rocks glasses that will be available at the event, most likely from auction. So you're going to have to up the bid, live auction item. And it's a set of 4. You will be the first one to own these. And you're going to have to fight some of the guys that are in our chapter, absolutely, for these. You're going to have to fight our guys. But, hey, it's worth it, and you could be the first one. So just another option for you out there that will be available if you like to drink beverages and you want to collect some cool rocks glasses and be the first one to own them. So that is another option for you. So okay,
and I'm not going to say what, but there will be a couple one-of-one Northern Indiana items up for auction as well. So
good. All right. As I'm going through a couple of, if you can think of anything else, and I'm going through a few questions here just to verify that I have them ready for you, that we can fire off. And we got a handful of questions for you, so that's good. All right. So before we get into our question and answer session with Ed, I would like to play this message from one of our partners. Whether you're navigating the rugged terrain of the great outdoors or conquering the concrete jungle of the urban landscape, Bigfoot Beard Company has you covered. Bigfoot products are made with natural ingredients designed to help maintain a healthy, rich beard without leaving it feeling greasy and heavy. From classic cologne-inspired fragrances to fruity notes and earthy tones, there's sure to be a scent for every occasion. With worldwide shipping available, why not take an opportunity to walk on the wild side? Head over to Bigfoot Beard Company today. That's www.bigfootbeardco.com. Again, that's www.bigfootbeardco.com. All right. So, our next section, we don't have you know what we should make this like a semi-annual or a segment to our show where it's like Ask Ed, and I'll get some theme music.
Oh, nobody wants to see that. I promise. Nobody.
I'll get some theme music going for you. Well, it'll be until you decide to no longer be a board member, or we can just go through the ranks of.
You're allowed to do that. You just get to decide.
I think so. I don't know. I'm not a board member, so I don't know. I don't know how that works. But like I said, better you than me. So I don't know how that works. But we're going to fire off some questions here for Ed, and let's see here. I've got a special little logo here that we can bring up. Here it is. Ask Ed. All right, so let's ask Ed. We've got a couple of really good ones for you here, and we're going to start off with a non-softball question for you.
Okay.
This one, I'm not going to say who said these. Obviously, anybody that's in the chat can see, but these are just great general questions for you. So I'm going to first come over here to this screen, and we'll fire up the question. Well, you know what? I'm going to do that way because then it's just the name on it, and then it's going to be a big mess. So we'll just do this. All right, what's happening? Ask Ed. What's happening with BV and the outing of many people and some chapters that have been here since day one? Also, can I get an Ezra Tours T-shirt this year at the event? So let's start with part one. Well, let's get the softball out of the way. We're not selling the shirts at the event. I know this was an Ask Ed question. He can go more into detail if he wants to, but you would be able to purchase it online. I would recommend actually purchasing it online today, and who knows, depending on where you live, it might get to you faster, and you might be able to wear it for the event. Anyway, so the other question is, what's happening with BV and the outing of many people and some chapters that have been here since day one? Tough question to start off with, Ed.
It's one I expected, and it's honestly one I get almost daily. For those guys that know me, they know if they hit me up on Discord or Line or Instagram or whatever, I'm going to get back to them. So if you have questions for a board member, not just me, any board member, just hit us up. We'll get back to you on it. Well, as far as them being removed, that's just not accurate. Anybody who's a captain can remember back at the beginning of January of this year, there was a map census put up, and it was supposed to be done by January 31st. Some of us did it, some of us didn't. Our chapter did. Our chapter actually put it to a vote and decided. There was a lot of misinformation that went out during that time. I really hate that word, misinformation. It sucks that it's gone into the nomenclature at this point, but you had a choice. And January 31st came and went, and they left it up. And they left it up February, came and went, and it was still up. Middle of March, it was still up. And then beginning of April, they took it down. In April, I was brought onto the board. I was invited to join the board. I was voted in, and that's how I got into this predicament. I got asked who I would recommend for the board, and I did not recommend myself. I recommended two captains that I respect very highly. I recommended BP and Optimus. At which point, about 2 weeks later, I was told I had gotten voted in if I was willing to accept it. And when that happened, I took it like I do everything else. If I'm in something, I'm all in. And I can tell you that all the captains were notified that they needed to complete the map census and the commitment letter. And if they didn't, they would not be a BV chapter any longer. Now, I know every chapter and every captain was notified because I'm the one that did it. I went into captain's chat, and that turned into a 17-hour argument that I had for all 17 hours with various captains with all the questions they wanted to ask about what, you name it, whatever. And so everybody knew. Some chose to continue to disregard it. Now, at the end of that, I explained to everyone, if you want to remain a BV chapter, please reach out to a board member or myself or whoever, and we will help you complete the map census, complete the commitment letter, come back to BV. That went on all the way through the end of May, at which point that was it. That's 5 months or 4 months beyond the deadline. If you did not have a chance to complete that map census in 5 months, then you probably you're not in a position to make that decision, or you chose not to be part of BV. And you don't have to be. Those guys that left, those chapters that left BV, those guys are still villains. They're not being removed from the club or anything like that. They're still villains. They're just, let's be real. If you're not in a chapter, a recognized BV chapter, then you are not a BV captain. Period. You're not a BV lieutenant. You're not a BV sergeant. It is what it is. You can use whatever tags you want to use, but that doesn't make you a BV chapter. So for those people that chose to go that route, that's the decision they made. I encouraged everybody I talked to, and at this point, 12 chapters who were out in beginning of April have come back to BV. It's still a matter of, are we willing to talk to chapters that didn't commit? Yes. Yes, we are. Do we have chapters still coming back? Yes, we do. And that's a decision the chapter and the members of that chapter need to make. So no chapter was forcefully removed from BV. They either chose not to commit or they chose to quit. That's what happened. Now, as far as lots of guys that have been here from the beginning being removed, it's not lots of guys. And it's based on the actions that they've committed. There's it's not a matter of, personal animosity or anything like that. It's a matter of, you've been warned. You knew this was against the bylaws. You continued to do it. And we do have rules in this club, and those rules, they need to be followed. It's not a matter of, the board doesn't sit around like the police. We don't sit around looking to punish people. I have better things to do in my day than scroll through Line and Discord and Instagram and all this other crap. No, I'm not going to do that. If it gets reported to us, we'll investigate it. But yeah, there haven't been that many. I want to say it's 5 guys have been removed. So yeah, and they were removed for COC violations.
Okay. All right. That was a very detailed answer. Hopefully that answered your question. And as I'm just gonna forward this out, also say, because we're in a podcast platform and we're not in a situation where there can be a lot of back and forth between you. Ed has always been somebody who has an open door policy regarding his responsibilities as a board member, and I've never once heard him say no to the opportunity to have somebody reach out to him if they have any questions. He may not do it at 12 o'clock at night. It may not be 1 o'clock in the morning, but he has done an amazing job. And I am extremely lucky and proud that he's a member of our chapter and our co-captain. That to see the way that he has handled himself, I'll just give him props right now, and he would slap me in the face if he was here with me. One of the reasons why he's remote. But I will give him mad props because even though he put my name up for that position, and I just kind of laughingly said, "Nope, it's you." Once it became him, hey, I said, you know what? That's a good spot for you, and he's done an amazing job with it. He's jumped in with both feet, and he has been open. He's been honest. He's told guys, if he didn't know the answer, I'll find you the answer, and he does. It may not be the answer that guys wanted, but he found an answer. And at a time when so many people were saying that communication was bad, that communication was down, got to give props to Ed because Ed has been stalwart, and I love that word, stalwart. You never use that word enough. But he has been very forthright. There's another big word in his abilities to stand up and say, I'll be a communication beacon here, and I will be here to answer questions, fire your questions away. He has taken so much freaking heat and crap, and it just falls off of his shoulders. He doesn't care, but he gets answers. And like I said, it may not always be the answer you want, but it's a fair and just answer. So we're going to keep these questions going here. Let's see. We've got another one for you. Ed, how do you think the new chapters are doing so far? And any advice to give them on how to continue growing?
I think the new chapters we've had coming in, and just so everybody is aware, when we get a new chapter, we do monitor their activity, we monitor their growth, and we try to make sure we give them the tools. Now, again, we're not looking to punish new chapters. We're looking to help new chapters. So as far as, the new chapters are actually kicking ass. I'm watching a lot of what they're doing, and these guys have, some of these chapters, it's like back to back to back to back to back charity events, meetups. They're doing stuff that chapters that have been here since 2015 aren't doing. I just went up and did some cool things with some of the newer chapters or the under new management chapters. And yeah, they're killing it. They're absolutely killing it, to the point where, I'm looking at my chapter going, I better step my goddamn game up. These guys are just, they're coming out of the gates running. Their chapters are growing. I talked to them. They've got hopefuls and supporters. And, some of these chapters have been around now for, we say new chapters, but they've been around for a few months, and they're raising thousands of dollars for charity. They're delivering pallets of water to flood victims. You've got other chapters that are doing suicide prevention walks, and just, for something that's brand new, because I can remember when we were brand new, and it's kind of like, okay, well, let's plan an event for 6 months from now. That way we can get all of our ducks in a row. Fuck that. These guys are out just, bam, they hit the ground running. They've got just tons of work going on. And I think it's great to see, a couple chapters that are hungry. They realized coming into this is that, the world was going to be watching, and they've embraced that challenge. I think they're just doing awesome. I expected to see more stumbling than I've seen, in all honesty. And yeah, they're doing killer.
Yeah, good. I've seen it too. It's great to see. When a lot of times there's the new chapters, when you see them coming through, and there is, like you said, there's some stumbling. There's some getting to know, and people will stand up and go, I don't know I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. No, these new chapters, they're finding a way and they're figuring it out, and it's really cool to see. All right, this next one, I am actually going to share the full question on the screen, because if I were to ask you this question without having the actual typed question on here from the person that typed it, I think you would assume that it was from somebody else.
What is it? One question in 27 parts, or
no? It's just one simple question.
Okay.
This question is, if I, as a matter of fact, I'm going to ask the question of you, and then you tell me knowing who's on the line tonight, who do you think this question came from? The question is for Ed: how does one become more Ed?
Fucking Rob. It's got to be Rob. No way.
It was
Okay.
Antonio with that bomber of a question. How does one become more Ed?
You don't. No, nobody wants that. That's. It's almost like it's oxymoronic. It's like, what would Ed do? He would burn it to the ground. That's what he would do. Don't that was a funny thing that Rob started up, and it kind of spun out of control. Apparently there's some people that love it. I think the stuff Rob posts every day is inspiring. The fact that it says "Be More Ed" when it's shit I would never say is just kind of funny to me. But it's nice to read them. I do read them every day. Rob posts it on Discord. He posts it in his IG stories, and if it's touching people and it's helping people, then it's awesome. It gets used against me a lot, especially just so everybody knows VK likes to throw that at me, he'll be like, hey, can you do this? Well, I don't know. He's like, well, be more Ed. Like, that's bullshit. Don't use that shit against me. That's not okay. So, but yeah, I think it should be more Rob. He's the one driving that movement, and but yeah, I if it's helping people and it makes people feel good, then I'm all for it.
I love that.
If I'm the butt of the joke on these stupid T-shirts and stuff, yeah, that's fine. That doesn't bother me.
Oh, yeah. But the best part about it is, and I know Ed and I've had these conversations, that the inspiring words that come from Rob's imagination with that hashtag "Be More Ed" absolutely crack me up, because it's like I've never heard Ed say anything that positive in my life.
No. No, we'll get a call from a hopeful. I can't make it today. I've got a headache, and my response is, "You're giving me a fucking headache. Get your ass over here." Yeah. So yeah, it's
Ed.
not. Yeah.
I think what I want to do is I want to take this "Be More Ed" movement that's been emblazoned from Rob, and I want to make it similar to the "That's What She Said" movement. And instead of anybody saying "that's what she said" when the appropriate time was right, anytime somebody comes back with a sarcastic comment that could be taken in a wrong way, instead of "that's what she said," it needs to be "Be More Ed." That's what we need to do from now on.
You'll be saying that to me a lot.
Yes, and as you're coming to Ezra Crow this weekend, if you're coming, make sure you're ready with all the "Be More Ed" every time that happens. And it doesn't have to be anything that Ed says. It could just be in casual conversation between you and me. Be more Ed. That's what we're gonna do. All right. So I'm gonna push that agenda. All right. Next question.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? There is one thing I want to go to, because I'm dwelling on that first question.
Okay.
And one of the things that came about with all of that craziness was people yelling about a contract they were signing. No one signed a contract. There is a little check mark that says "okay." It's not a contract. There's no signatures. There's no anything like that. And if anybody has not seen it, if you want to, hit me up. I'll send it to you. It's like 8 questions. Like, do you agree to support the Bearded Villains Brotherhood? If you can't accept that, there's a problem. Basically, each one of those points, you can draw a line to the BV bylaws. Each one of those points is in there. So basically, all it was you're agreeing to live by the BV bylaws. Now, there was some stuff that got posted, and I can remember this stuff being posted, because it was like, they wanted to know every name of every guy in your chapter and their birthday and their phone number and their address and all this crazy information they said they were asking for, to the point where BP, if you remember, me and you were arguing over who was going to have to fill it out, because I thought it was going to take literally all day, because I'm going to have to get the name, the date of birth, so what I got to do, I got to go through and call everyone to make sure this is accurate. I didn't want to do it. You didn't want to do it. I don't remember. I think you just said you pulled rank. That's it. You're doing it. And I was like pissed. And I went to fill this thing out. It took 3 minutes, literally 3 minutes. And the hardest thing was I had to look up your phone number because I never dial your phone number. I just hit BP.
Right.
So that was literally the hardest part of the whole form. That little stupid commitment letter at the end of this, where you basically say, yes, I agree to live by the BV bylaws. That's what everybody freaked out about.
Yeah. Good. And like I said, as I've said before, anybody that does have any questions about this and is looking for a little bit extra clarification, don't hesitate to reach out to Ed at decent hours of the day, and he will get back to you if you have specific questions about that. He's been very open about that. He has shared with anybody that's asked. And I will say from my end of things and the conversations that I have had regarding that form, I was very surprised by the number of people that I had conversations with that not as a board member that told me, well, that form does this or that or the other, and I'm like, that's not what that form does at all. Well, yeah, it is. And I said, well, did you ever see? When was the last time you saw it? Do you remember seeing it? Oh, I saw it for a little bit. Well, did you actually read it point by? No. So there's a lot of that, and sadly, I had conversations with other people that were not officers in chapters that said that they never even heard about this thing, and that perhaps that decisions were being made that were out of their hands, which was sad to hear. So if you're one of those that you've never seen that form and you know about the controversy that supposedly surrounded it, reach out to Ed. He'll share it with you. He'll tell you what it was. He'll give you the straight answer. All right, I've got another really tough question for you, Ed. Moving on. This is going to be one that you're going to have to think about. How do you get your beard so luscious? I've never heard your beard described as luscious, but
I'm going to keep this PG. Paula.
Paula.
Yeah.
Okay.
Essence Day Paula. Guys, it works.
We'll leave it at that.
There you go.
All right, next question up. Ed, Ask Ed says, what's up with only one Beard of Mayhem patch per year? Is there a plan to make it more accessible to earn?
It's funny you mentioned that, because what that tells me is your captain did not share the most current board minutes. There will be more than one Beard of Mayhem, as long as there is more than one person deserving of it. The way and I'm going to go off on because this is something. So I personally don't like the one Beard of Mayhem a year. I think at that point it becomes a trophy. It becomes a look at me or a whatever, instead of being what it's intended to be. And what that is I think if I see somebody with a Beard of Mayhem patch on their shirt and I have a question or I have a problem or I need a brother I can lean on right now, that should be the guy. I should know I can go to that guy and no matter what, he's going to be there for me. That to me exemplifies what a Beard of Mayhem is. And it hasn't been that for a long time. We'll just call it what it is.
You're going off on a tangent, so I'm bringing up some music behind you.
But so yes, there can be more than one Beard of Mayhem. Now the way you earn it has not changed. The biggest mistake people make with the Beard of Mayhem is they think it's my buddy's really cool. He's a solid brother. I'm putting him in for Beard of Mayhem. Okay, that's not a qualification for Beard of Mayhem. Everybody who gets nominated for a Beard of Mayhem or who receives it better damn well be a solid brother. Better be a great member of their chapter if they're in a chapter. That's not to say a chapterless guy couldn't get it. What they need to do is they need to have made a positive impact on BV as a club. That doesn't mean we put on a great event and, we raised a bunch of money for charity. Congratulations. That's something very successful that your chapter did. That is not a qualification for a Beard of Mayhem. How did you impact BV? And that's the criteria that people have the hardest time with is, how did you impact the club? I mean, BP, I could use you as an example. How has BP impacted the club? This podcast right here. How many villains do you reach every week? How many people join BV because of this podcast, etc.? So that's an example of going above being a solid brother, a solid captain, a solid whatever. How many thousands of dollars of your own money have you invested in this? How many, hundreds and hundreds of hours do you have tied up in it? How many different charities have you helped based on the fact that you've promoted it on this podcast? Those are the type of things that make for a Beard of Mayhem. So yeah, it's you have to ask yourself, how did this guy positively impact the club? A lot of the nominations we receive, it's just that. It's, oh, he's a solid brother, he's a great captain, he's been there for me forever. That's awesome. I'm not diminishing that, because that's something every captain and every villain for that matter should be. Give us more.
I like that. Yeah. I look forward to the day that we can celebrate brothers, more than one brother all over the place, getting that Beard of Mayhem patch.
I'm hoping it will be this year. So I really hope we have multiple recipients this year.
That would be great. That would be awesome. Okay. Let's see here. I believe he answered that question for you. Let's try this one here. And this might be our last one that we have for you. I got to go back through the last few questions coming through here, or comments coming through here. But next question for Ask Ed. Why do you think a lot of captains have issues with the newer chapters? Oh, we're going in hard on this one. Why do you think a lot of captains have issues with the newer chapters?
Okay, again, this is my personal opinion. I mean, I don't have time to go pull the board and see what they think. So, I mean, again, this is my complete personal view on this. I think a lot of the captains that do have issues with the new chapters, they see it as these guys spawned up to take over territories. In some ways, when you look at it, okay, they did move into territories which belonged to other chapters previously. But again, that wasn't their choice. That wasn't something they created. That was vacated by an existing chapter. That was a choice. And, these guys weren't victims. They knew what was coming. And I can 100% tell you they knew what was coming, because I'm the one that fucking told them. No questions asked. They knew. So, as far as why the existing captains have it, I think they have a lot of guys they've been friends with for years and years and years. And they feel like these new chapters in some way damaged their ability to be a chapter when they chose not to be. Every single chapter had the same ability to come on board. Every chapter. They chose not to. That's facts. So again, I'm not going to punish someone else for choices that someone else made. The chapters that have come in, the newer ones, they're killing it. They're absolutely killing it. And a pet peeve of mine personally is when, instead of upping your game, you try to tear down theirs. So if you want to say, hey, we're better than them, fucking prove it. I tell every captain I talk to that you should think you are the single best chapter in BV. And if you don't think that, then you should be working hard to become the best chapter in BV. That should be something that every captain lives by. Every captain, co-captain, lieutenant, whatever. You guys should always be striving for greatness. You should be striving for one more than you did the year before. And if you're not, you're failing. That's just the way it is. Don't try and tear somebody else down in order to build yourself up. Build yourself up.
Well said. Well said. I love the fact that I will say this. I love the fact that you guys if you've never heard Ed talk about his opinions on these things before, if you've never had a chance to really sit down and chat with him, I'm really happy that you guys, that those of you that are here listening tonight live, and those that are listening on a standard podcast platform after the fact, are able to hear his words and his opinions on these things. And it's important, I think, to hear the words, not just see a text. but actually hear the words, because we lose so much in a text message back and forth. But I think he does a really good job of explaining his opinion, but also saying it in a way that is very undeniably common sense. So I'm grateful that, and it's what's funny is I'm happy that you guys are able to hear some of the conversations that he and I have one-to-one about some of these very same issues. So very, very cool to hear. So thank you, Ed, for sharing those.
Yeah, I can't emphasize enough that the board is not BV police. None of us want to sit around and punish people. I would much rather somebody reach out to me and say, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Or "I have a question. Can you help me?" You know, whatever the case may be. I would much rather do that than be dealing with a patch pull or anything else. That is the least thing any of us want to do. We would much rather see everybody succeeding and everybody being happy. And if you have a question, a comment, a concern, my door is wide open. You know, and I might not get back. You know, some mornings I wake up and I've got 70 messages. And if you're number 71, I'll get to you eventually. But, you know, I've never had a day where I went to bed without answering everybody back. So if you have a question, if you just want to tell me to go F myself, I'm not going to take it personally. You know, it is what it is. Do I think I'm better than anyone else? Hell no, I don't. And nobody on the board thinks they are. So I think there's been a disconnect from a lot of that, from, you know, what the board is versus, you know, what we're trying to do. And our main goal is to make sure everybody is operating, you know, the same way. We don't want to sit and come down on people. That's not fun for anyone. We're all volunteers, and we don't want to deal with drama. We don't want to deal with negativity, but we know we have to. So, you know, if you just need to go off, and you know, this will go back to those guys that had their patches pulled. If you need to tell someone to F off, I'm your guy, because I'm not going to take it personally. If you want to have a blow up argument, let's have one. Don't go after somebody who's never done a damn thing to you just because of what chapter they belong to or what chapter they have friends in. You know, if you're looking to just lash out, and, you know, when you're done, I'll ask you, are you done now? And if the answer is no, well, then keep going. But yeah, don't, you know, let's move forward together positively.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I will say this. The first event that we went to, that Ed and I went to, post I guess Bearded Villain version 2, when after the agreement came out, and when there were still so many chapters that were out there questioning whether they should or shouldn't, or that they were vehemently opposed to doing it and whatnot. The first event that we went to was Beards for Bucko. And what a cool situation we ended up in, where there were members of chapters, there were brothers at this event from chapters that did not want to sign that. They chose not to. And they had very, very open opinions about why they didn't. And here we are in a situation where we're sitting around in a parking lot after hours in a context where we can just hang out, enjoy each other's company, but also have some really in-depth, very cool heart-to-heart conversations. And I was able to be a part of and witness conversations between these various sides of the aisle, where guys had these, they weren't yelling, but they were heated, I would say, elevated voice conversations, and everybody walked away that night better for it, because people's opinions were heard. Everybody heard where everybody's coming from. I think there was a lot of question and indecision that came from beforehand that was sorted out, and a lot of misleading comments from, you know, going into the weekend were sorted out. And for me, I can say personally, I walked away from that weekend thinking to myself, we have a chance. We're going to be okay. BV's going to be okay, because I got to see that. Before that, I was worried. I was worried about where things were going to go down the road, and the comments, the arguments, and the things like that were going to happen, and the decisiveness. But what that did show me is that not only can we coexist when we're differing of opinion on where we see our individual chapters' future being, but we can coexist in a way that we can be still supportive of each other and our own opinions. We can agree to disagree respectfully. And it was a perfect example of that. So I walked away from that weekend much happier and much more sure of the future of BV than I did before as I came into that weekend.
If you have chapters that have left and right now decide, you know what, that was a mistake, we want to come back, send me a message, and let's make something happen. Send me a message. We didn't want to lose a single chapter. So if that's something you want, if your chapter gets together and says, you know what, we want to be BV, we want to, and it's not that you're not villains, you are, but effectively you're chapterless. So if you want to come back and be a part of a BV chapter, reach out. Let's see what we can do.
Perfect. All right. As we wind down, I know we had one other question that came in, and let's see here. Why aren't flights cheaper to Ezra?
I broke my magic wand. I couldn't make that happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my eyes out.
That had to be Rob.
No, unfortunately.
Really?
No, that one was a Florida resident.
Oh, it had to be Dan then.
Yeah. And DC even chimed in. They are stupid expensive. They are. But you know what? You don't have to fly into Ezra. You just need to fly into Chicago. And Midway is usually the cheapest route. So if you need a ride, hey, give us a shout. We got a big chapter.
And a shameless plug. Shameless plug. These are back up on the website again for those that are looking for them. I've had quite a few guys wanting to know when we were going to get them back. So,
all right. If you just saw that there, a great X Factor hat for Northern Indiana is now available back on our website. That is bvnorthernindiana.org. bvnorthernindiana.org. All right, just going through the last couple comments here before we finish up the night. Let's see here. Ed or Rob, I'll bring some of these comments. I'll just go ahead and bring them in here. Rob says, "I am sure I speak for a large number by adding Ed to the board. BV finally managed to bridge a gap between the brothers and the perceived upper table." I agree. Great comment there. And DC agrees. He says, "Indeed."
The thing to remember with the board is we work for you. You don't work for us. And you should go into any conversation with us with that idea in mind. We're there to help you. We're there to work for you.
Perfect. Yes, Dave, it was the Brazilian grill that made me feel that way. So cozy and happy about that. Yes, it was. I love that place. That place was amazing. Yeah. Expensive, but well worth it. I will give you that. It was well worth it, and was very excited that you guys came up with such a good idea for food that night, for sure. Well, guys, thank you so much for all of your input and your conversation. We have darn near eclipsed an hour and a half on this episode. But you know what? I feel like we really got something accomplished tonight. I think this was really cool. I think this is going to become a semi-annual thing at the very least, where we bring in, maybe not Ed all the time. I'm sure Ed wouldn't mind stepping back and letting somebody else come on. The only difference is that Ed's willing to talk, and some other guys may not be willing to talk. Some guys don't like to be fired at. They don't like to have the questions thrown at them. And one of the great things I think that's been a refreshing reminder of brotherhood since Ed became a board member, and I've loved to watch it, is that he's not afraid to face the firing squad when people are throwing questions his way. And he doesn't sidestep anything. It's either here's the answer, take it or leave it, or let me find you the answer. And he's not sidestepping. And I've heard that, unfortunately, that comment comes through a lot over the years. Over the years, I heard a lot of people say, I have questions that aren't being answered. And Ed has been an open book about let me know. What's your question? I'll answer it for you. If I don't have the answer right now, I'll let you know. So
Well, keep in
congrats
mind
again
that
for you.
when I am answering those questions, I'm not just answering. I go into the board chat. I'll get everybody else's opinion. Uh, I'll ask for clarification on a rule. Mario is absolutely the man when it comes to knowledge of the bylaws, etc. Vile is the one that keeps me calm. Um, Believe it or not, he's the
Wow.
one that's usually like, Ed, you need to not do that. Christian is he's all over the place. He's just as active in the Latin chats as I am in the English speaking chats. And he's also active in the English chats because if I went into the Spanish chats, I would be absolutely useless. You got Eric holding down the West Coast. Eric handles most of the stuff with the black flags and everything in between. Fab is, running all the villain patches. He's head over there in France, just kicking ass. And VK, for those guys that haven't seen it in person, he is really stepping up. So I think for a lot of years he made the mistake of saying, I don't want to bang my own drum. Um, and sometimes, he still isn't willing to bang his own drum, but that's okay. I'll bang it for him. Because he's way more active than people gave him credit for. And, whether he's there in person or there on video or whatever the case may be, he's still active and present, and it's daily BV for him. And, people need to remember VK also has a job. I've had a real job. So when I sent him a message one day because I was pissed off because he didn't get back to me right away, and I was like, you know what? I need you to answer this. This is not a joke. I need to know an answer like now. And he sent me a video of his phone. There were so many Instagram messages that it doesn't even show a number. It just showed like a dot with an exclamation point. He had 300 messages on Discord and like 200 text messages. He's like, if I spend 1 minute on each one of these, I still won't get through them today before I've got to go to work. There's just no way. So cut the guy a little bit of slack when you're like, oh, I sent him a message. Okay, well, maybe don't send him a message. Maybe send it to one of the board members so that we can help you with it.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Well said. Well said. He tries to be open and available to everybody, but when you're in a brotherhood of between 4,000 and 5,000 people worldwide, you can't logistically be available to everyone all the time. And
Right.
That's why we need to utilize the resources that we have of the board members for sure.
He jumped into Captain's chat on Discord a couple of weeks ago and threw his phone number up in there, and I was like, "Oh, that was a mistake."
Oh, no. That's when you have a burner phone, and
Yeah.
the burner phone is the number you give out just to say, I'm available, but I'll probably only answer 2% of you because I won't have time
Yeah.
between everything else you got going on. So, all right. And David also makes a good point here on the chat. Questions. Use, too often we don't utilize a resource that we have similar to a chain of command. And because too often I think we want to get the answers ourselves. And so we think that we go to the top and get the answer rather than go and follow some sort of a semblance of order. And so as David pointed out here in the chat, he also mentioned committee members. Yes, reach out to your committee members too. Sometimes they may have some knowledge on something that you just don't know about. Maybe there's been discussions behind the scenes that you're just not aware of. And worst case scenario, maybe they can get an answer for you and get back to you as well. So yeah, utilize your resources that you have. If you have any questions about anything that's going on within the club, just like anything else that's out there, I think if you belong to a private club, I think there's always going to be officers that are in positions, and they're in those positions for a reason, and they can give you the resources that are necessary and the information that's necessary if you give them the chance. And if all you're doing is complaining and you're shouting to the top tier all the time, you're circumventing the opportunity to not only to allow those other people in those positions to help, but you're also not getting the information that you need. So utilize these people to the best of their abilities. They're there for you, and they're wanting to be there to help. All right, Ed, thank you so much. Do you have any parting words before we close out the show?
Just remember, board members, committee members, we're all just full of shit as everybody else. We're just human and we're just villains. So if you need something, hit us up. There's nothing special about any of us. We're all just patch villains. That's it.
All right, that's a lie, but okay.
No, that's the truth.
I appreciate that. All right, Ed, thanks so much for joining me tonight. It's been a lot of fun. I know that the guys in the comment section have loved it, and they've been very, very complimentary of the openness and the answers that you've given tonight. So thank you so much for that. Everybody say thank you to Ed. Thanks, Ed, for being here tonight. All right, everybody. As we close out the show, I got to say thank you so much, obviously, to Ed for being here with us tonight. And then, you know what? We've been here a long time, but it's awesome. That's going to wrap it up. That's going to wrap up episode 230 of this here show. I want to challenge you guys, as I do every week, to be the villain that the world needs you to be, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. Most important words I say every week, guys, remember them well. It's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. Guys, have a great night. Enjoy this weekend ahead. I hope you make plans to come see us at Ezra next weekend. I'd love to see you. We'd love to have you there for an awesome time. I know you'd love it. Otherwise, we'll see you back here again next week for episode 231. Until then, take care. Stay safe.
From the start to the finish, go hard.